You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. This is January 21st, 2019. With you today is myself, Carl. The always is back. Welcome back.
What up?
Missed you, bud. And
I missed you too.
And Nick.
Not Nick, though.
Oh, no nickname this week. Just sad Nick.
Nick, I didn't miss you, Sagan. There you go. There's Nick.
Thanks,
bro. Did you miss?
Nolly.
Shocking.
Well, we are here to bring you a brand new episode of the Fourth Line. And you know who must have been listening? Rod Brindamore must have been checking out the show last week, because we gave him kudos to Nick for the idea guy Nick. That's what I was going to call you this week, the always inspirational Nick, for your inspirational, uplifting quotes last week. Forgot it. It's never too late, though. But he must have been listening to you as well.
Maybe. I mean, I doubt it, but maybe. But you're saying that because of his comments, right?
Yeah, because of what he had to say after the Hurricanes game the other day. Rob Brindamore came out and said that he probably should suit up. If the Canes are going to play that bad, he should suit up and play for the team. Our first 2019 player coach.
Please let this happen. I really, really need to see a player coach soon.
I think they'll be worse. Like, would this make them worse? Like,
well, Joel, take it from the team that I follow. You could never be worse when you have Stanley Cup winning veterans suiting up for you. That's wrong. You can totally be worse. You can be very bad.
that's the thing that like shouldn't Brindamore be coaching, listening to this show? Like, I feel like that's I mean, I feel like we're good, but I don't know if we're that good. Like, I feel like he should probably be doing his job instead of not doing his job, because I feel like he's not doing his job.
Yeah, I think he's deserves some downtime, and if he wants to spend his down at the Fourth Line, I'm not going to tell him how to spend that. He's not coaching 24/7. He has to listen to something on his drive into the office, so...
Well, maybe he's not coaching at all. Like, maybe that's why he needs to... He's like, I don't know how to coach, I only know how to play. And so he's like, so maybe I should just play. Like, it's just basically... Carolina's awful. It's just a terrible team.
Yeah, it's basically the issue Gretzky had when he coached in Phoenix.
Okay. I think this is the first time that Brindamore has ever been compared to somebody good, let alone the greatest player ever.
No, I'm not comparing him as a player.
Side note, if Brindamore was listening, he's probably not.
Well, thanks, Rob. Also, I just called you Rob, so you're definitely listening anymore.
I'm sure it happens all the time to him.
Yeah, that's fair. Robert Brindamore, thank you for tuning in, as short as it was.
100% didn't realize what was wrong. When you were like, well, thanks, Rob. I'm like, yep, that's his name. Yeah, right?
It's close enough.
It did sound right.
Yeah, it very much did. You all know the Alberta Podcast Network has great shows such as this one on it, and they have fantastic sponsors that make these shows possible to be able to push great content to you, to get you great prizes for contests such as ice sticking. Those are things that come from that. And this week's sponsor that we want to tell you about is Park Power. Park Power is a great choice if you live in Alberta and you are wanting your natural gas or electricity. You have to get it from somewhere. You might as well pick a place like Park Power that allows you to pick it, to switch quite easily, and also some of the money that they generate getting their stuff from them, stuff being natural gas and electricity, goes to charity, and that's a win. So head to parkpower.ca and you can find out more. Rod Brindamore and the Carolina Hurricanes had a pretty busy week. They made a trade. They made a contract extension. Let's start with the trade. Nino Niederreiter. Let's play everyone's favorite game. Where's Nino from? Joel.
I don't know. I feel I know that he's like one of like 3 players from the country that he's from.
Yeah, you're pretty close. Yep.
I don't know what one though. I'm gonna say Germany.
He is Swiss.
Oh,
yeah.
Just didn't let Nick play, hey?
Yeah, just cut me right out of there.
We were gonna
no
play,
big deal.
We were gonna play
like the good old days on the podcast.
We were gonna play different with Nick. He was traded for Viktor Rask. Where's Viktor Rask from, Nick?
Finland.
It's the same game.
It's a different game because it's a different player, and he's Swedish.
Swedish?
Yeah.
Where's Tuukka Rask from?
Tuukka Rask is Finnish.
Oh, see? Got my Rasks crossed.
Yeah. That's the Rask you take when you have same name. That's fine.
No.
Hey, oh, yes!
No, we're not allowing...
Yes.
That is not something that should happen.
That was amazing.
You know what? We need to just restart this entire segment. Just not letting us play games, terrible jokes.
Carl, be honest. Was that prepared?
That was in no way... Like,
He's made that
regards
same
to this
joke.
trade, I've made a similar Rask-based trade joke, but I did not intend to make one today.
I'm pretty sure it was not similar. Like, I'm pretty sure it was exactly the same.
Well, okay, there's only so many puns based on the name Rask that you can come up with, and it's only swapping out Risk for Rask. That's all you have.
Well, no, you could call him a rascal.
Yeah.
There you go. Where were you on the Rascal? I guess we haven't analysis yet.
I've just been thinking about it now, so.
Well, that was a trade that happened. Nino Niederreiter heading to Carolina. Viktor Rask heading the other way. Niederreiter, and granted, and we'll get to this team shortly, against the Oilers last night, 2 goals when the rest of the Hurricanes put up 7. A good way to get affiliated with his new squad.
Yeah, so is it any debate now who won that trade?
I don't know if there was any debate even before he scored 2 goals.
Who do you think won?
Oh, Carolina. It's the only good thing they've done all year.
Yeah, maybe.
I would say they've done other good things. Certainly they won this trade. The talent from Niederreiter's perspective, right? He's performed before heading to Minnesota after his time on the island. Peaked, 2 seasons ago with 25 goals. And Viktor Rask has yet to really do anything. He scored 20 goals once, but I think to me he's like a 15 to 20 goal guy is kind of what I see him as. And the only reason I look at this from Minnesota's perspective is a money thing. The only reason that I think I can come up with any reason why they would do it. Viktor Rask, $4 million, whereas Niederreiter is coming in at 5.25. So they save $1.25 million. But for a team that's rebuilding, getting worse, maybe not the best of ideas.
Well, Rask is also a centerman, so he adds a bit of depth down the middle for them. I don't even know who they had playing center before.
They've got enough centermen that they've got Charlie Coyle playing on the wing sometime, right? So they've got Koivu, they've got Eric Stahl, they've got Charlie Coyle, they've got Eriksson Ek, now they've got Viktor Rask. So they've got a whole slew of centermen in Minnesota.
In various age groups too.
Yeah, you've got a couple veterans, you've got some young guys, and maybe that's their plan. Right? They're getting ready to have someone play center when Eric Stahl's done after this year, Koivu after next year. It's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, this is just like a mid-6 swinger for a mid-6 center. Niederreiter's a better scorer for sure, but he's also tends to disappear for long periods of time and just become invisible.
Sure, and you don't, if you score 50 points, you're going to have some stretches where you don't score. You're probably not a consistent 1 point every other game. You're going to score 2 goals against Edmonton and maybe go a few without some. So that'll happen. This week, though, they extended Teuvo Teravainen. First one, this goes to both of you. Where's Teuvo from?
You want me to go first? Or do you want to go first?
Rapid
Wisconsin. I'm just kidding.
Joel wins. Joel wins. It's done.
I would honestly guess Finland again.
That's what I was going to guess.
Well, there you go. You both win. You're 1 for 2.
Yay.
Finland.
There you go.
So he is a 5-year, $27 million extension, which to me, a fantastic deal. Coming over from Chicago, he has put up certainly respectable enough numbers. He's pace for 67 points this year after putting up 60 points again last year. Teravainen is a dependable player that they'll be like this deal.
Yeah, I think it's about what I would expect.
I think he was in a position where he could have asked for more.
Well, especially if he were to, he was still restricted, so he couldn't go to the open market, and we know that no one's going to sign him to an offer sheet. But certainly, if he had taken a shorter deal, he could have gotten more. If he had taken a 2-year deal at this amount, it was still, I don't think it would have been any more than this or any less. This is kind of on par. So, I definitely think he could have taken or gotten a lot more too.
And he's playing with Aho, right? Sebastian Aho?
Yeah.
Fellow Finn, I believe. I think this is a great deal for the Hurricanes. Long term, for sure. It's going to be very good for them.
Well, I guess. They're probably still never going to win. So
they got to sort their goaltending.
Are you telling me Curtis McElhinney is so not the answer?
That's correct. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah. If we have to tell you that, you may want to reconsider the type of path that this is.
This is a very a beginner's podcast, a show for new folks.
No, everyone knows that. No.
So the basic rule of thumb is that if someone's put on waivers, he's not good enough to stay with team. Shouldn't get a starting role anywhere.
I don't like where this is going.
Hold on, before we go there, I have a question. If you put Sergei Bobrovsky on this team, does that push them more into contending territory?
Yes. When you put top 5 goalie, don't you doesn't everything get better if they get a better goalie?
Right, but what I'm saying is I think they could make a lot more noise with a goalie like Bobrovsky, who's also a free agent at the end of this year.
Of course they'll make more noise, because you can't most people yell, Bobrovsky!
Are we allowed to do that? Is that not copyrighted?
No, that's completely okay.
Yeah, because Fox 1 or whatever it is, that's not a thing anymore, so I don't even know.
Yeah, no, we can definitely do that. They only,
it's fine.
So that right now they're sitting 7 points back of a wild card spot. And they have, last I checked, a sub 900 save percentage on the year. If you swap in Bobrovsky with a 9, even a 905 or a 910 save percentage, that's going to save you enough goals that you're going to win 3-4 games. That's going to put them right into a wild card spot. And I think it changes your style of play when you're not having to hold back and consider the fact that you have an unreliable goaltender behind you. You're definitely going to play a little bit aggressively and trust that guy behind you. So for sure, they'll be better offensively. They'll be able to take a little bit more risks. Not Rask. There's no Rask on this team anymore. And so definitely, if they could get out anyone, obviously they tried to do that with Scott Darling. 2 years ago, a year ago, didn't work. If they decide Sergei Bobrovsky's the piece for them, fantastic.
There's no way they're signing Bobrovsky.
Why not?
They're not going to. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I'm saying that they won't.
Now, do you think there's 2 reasons why I think the Carolina Hurricanes will not have Sergei Bobrovsky on their team? 1, they don't generate enough revenue to afford Sergei Bobrovsky. Or 2, because Sergei Bobrovsky doesn't want to go to Carolina.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the latter.
It's never happening. And this is they're as good as they get good players every now and then. They do whatever. They because you could say the same thing. Well, how much better would this team be if they had Jeff Skinner and I don't even know who they got for Jeff Skinner.
I do not believe there's anyone in this lineup right now that they Skinner. So
yeah, so it's like, hey, what if they had Jeff Skinner, Niederreiter, like they had Niederreiter, Jeff Skinner, add a goalie. There's always goalies available. Cam Talbot's probably available now. Go get him. Sure, he's better than McElhinney. They're just gonna be. They're not gonna put enough money into this. Like they'll never go get a guy like Bobrovsky.
Yeah, that seems.
They should, but they won't.
Biggest issue is that as a team that struggles, it's hard to convince a goalie repeatedly. Like, and I know that they don't have a long track record, but like to say, hey, you're the missing piece. I'd rather just go to a team that like we know you're gonna make the playoffs, right? Like stay in Columbus than go to Carolina.
I think either of the cities doesn't offer the lifestyle he's looking for, so it's probably a non-starter. But if I was the Hurricanes and I know that they have a cheap owner, I don't know. You got to throw it all at Bobrovsky because I think he would really elevate this team.
Where does he go? Where do you guys think he's going? Like next year, where is he playing?
Oh, if I had to find a spot, that's I was ill prepared for. I think if I were to be him, we talked about this last week. I wouldn't be returning to Columbus after the shenanigans. If I want to go take an early shower, I want to go take an early shower. Columbus doesn't lead. We talk about the lifestyle he wants to lead. Early showers and Columbus don't mix. So,
to be fair, I don't think early showers mix anywhere in the league. I don't think that's a Columbus issue. I think Bobrovsky was in the wrong there.
Noted.
Okay. Sorry, I had to cut you off to say that. I felt the need to get it out.
That's fair. Teams that I think could be in the running for Bobrovsky, I think you could have they've spent a lot of money. I don't know how much this year. As of right now, they don't have enough money, but they've got. They also have enough money coming up. I was gonna say as a place that could pony up for him. If they take they currently have 28 in projected cap space next year, and that's with Jeff Skinner walking out the door and a few restricted free agents not signing. Buffalo would be a good choice as a team that could him up. Carter Hutton, fine back up to Bobrovsky.
There aren't many contenders who are in need of a starting goalie right now, though, right? Agree?
I was gonna say, I don't know if they this is without looking at the numbers, but it's like from what I understand, they hate guys that like museums, and Bobrovsky seems like totally the nightlife of Calgary because there's no museums or libraries or anything like that. So
yeah, and no nightlife either.
Yeah. So it's Calgary if they can make it fit. But
so Calgary next year they have a total of $12 million in cap space, and that's with re-signing Tkachuk, which isn't going to be cheap, and Sam Bennett, which will be much cheaper. So they'll probably end up with about $8 million after the cap goes up by 3, 7 or 8. Don't know. They could obviously find a way to make Bobrovsky fit, but both of their goalies.
Well, they're going to find James Neal's going to find his way out of town.
Yeah, so they can certainly make something happen to find space to bring in a Bobrovsky because they do not have either goaltender signed for next year. So,
nor should they.
Right. Well, they will gladly walk away from the $4 million they're handing out to Mike Smith right now.
They love them some David Riddick here in Calgary.
Big Save Dave is a hit.
Oh, they love this guy.
Big Save Dave? Is that what they're calling him?
Yeah, that's what they call him. Big Save Dave.
All right.
That guy, it's going to be great. That guy's going to lead them to the playoffs, win the Stanley Cup, right?
I think
that can't go wrong.
That's what I've
right?
heard. I've heard rumors that that's what's happening. I saw, speaking of comparables to David Rittich. I saw a comparable for the sample size of him. Mikko Koskinen got a... are you okay, Nick?
Yeah, I was trying noise and I hit my table really hard.
That was opposite of not making noise.
I heard.
That's for my extremely sensitive microphone.
It's fine. Our listeners are not sensitive, so we'll be able to handle it. The Edmonton Oilers did some stuff today, which was fun. They started the day by putting Ryan Spooner and Ty Ratty on waivers. And Ryan Spooner is relevant because he was received in the Ryan Strome trade. Ryan Strome was an Oiler from the Jordan Eberle deal. And so now, 2 years after the Eberle trade, they've officially turned Jordan Eberle into a waiver player. Just someone that they've just released to waivers, which is fun. We'll see where he ends up. He'll probably end up in the A. But that's a mistake.
Nobody wants him.
No.
This is like, they literally turned Eberle into nothing. Like nothing. They're just like, here, have Eberle. And you know what? It's almost like McDavid could use like a scoring winger.
Almost. However, when this news dropped earlier today, we said, you know what? We've made fun of the Oilers enough. We're not going to deal with it. We're not going to touch it. We'll just let it go, and we'll talk about many other things that have happened this week. And then the Oilers went out and made another move this afternoon, continually letting Peter Chiarelli do things, signing goaltender Mikko Koskinen to a 3-year contract with an average value of $4.5 million. Now, Mikko Koskinen, the comparable was that Koskinen has played the same games, or a comparable number of games, as David Rittich from the Flames. And if the Flames want to go ahead David Rittich, a 3-year, $4.5 million contract, I would question that significantly. Now, Koskinen, he's come in, for the most part, been very good, right? He has a .911 save percentage for the Oilers. He has taken the net from Cam Talbot, and that's a good reason why you can trade him and not bring him back next year. However, Mikko Koskinen has only played in 27 games in the NHL, started 24. That's not enough of a sample size for me to be handing a 30-year-old goaltender who's, again, has that small sample size, this big of a contract. This is another deal that seems unnecessary.
You know what else is unnecessary? The full no-move clause, too.
I did not see that.
It's what it says on Cap Friendly right now. Yeah, no move.
Stuff up.
I'm not kidding. A full no-move clause. Which means he has to be protected during the expansion draft for Seattle.
Well, they don't have any other goalies that they would protect. So that makes sense, at least.
When's that draft? 2020?
2021, I think.
Yeah. Right after the lockout.
Yeah.
Right.
Goodness. But this is
so many bad things. This is the most depressing conversation I've had today. The Oilers are depressing. The NHL is depressing. Lockouts are depressing. It's just sad.
Do you want to talk about something? I guess next on the docket is the canceled World Cup. You're okay, canceled World Cup. Does that bring you joy?
I'm indifferent about that. Like, okay, I know, like, at what point, like, I know it's funny to talk about how, like, Chiarelli doesn't have he still has a job, but, like, at what point does it move from, like, this is crazy to just, like, the Oilers literally know that they're just trolling everyone by letting him be in. Like they got it. Like it's at that point, right? Like the owners of the Oilers are like, hilarious. We have too much money. We don't really care if it's all wasted because it's hilarious. Like, right?
I don't know how to answer that, Joel. I don't know what more to say about this guy.
I'm sure he's probably a nice guy.
He's got to be a good salesman, right?
They must just really like him.
He's great. He's great in the room.
Yeah, just
fancy PowerPoints, fancy words.
It's just so. It's just weird. It's like weird that they're just letting him, like, because it's not even like nobody is sitting there being like, oh, that might work out. Like nobody's doing that. No, like there's literally no team sitting there waiting to give Koskinen 3 years, 4.5. Like there's no team waiting to do that. No. There's probably no team willing to give him 3 years, $2.5 million.
I'd be fine with 3 years, 2.5. If my team signed him to that, sure. That's a no risk contract. You can.
I guess 3 years is a long time for a guy. Like it's just for an unknown quantity. Like he's barely played. I guess it's because he's really old.
Yeah, 30 years old already. And so for him, I get why he wants a bigger deal, right? Why he wants a longer deal. But I feel the Oilers, in a previous life, I walked in and had like a salary review. And I walked in and they said, what do you want? I said, I'd like this much money, please. They said, okay, we'll give you that. And that's when I knew I should have asked for more. It feels like this is what happened with the Oilers and Koskinen. Is they were like, what will it take to keep you here? I don't know, 3 years, 4.5? Done. Let's do it. Like this, it's almost like they didn't bother to negotiate what was happening there.
I think that the Koskinen camp has the advantage in this negotiation too, because they can go into the room and say, look, you don't have a starter next year. I can be your starter. If the 3 years was the most the Oilers were willing to go, then he's like, if you just need a starter to hold you over, then that's going to cost you. He obviously didn't want Talbot.
But then, again, this goes back to Chiarelli just being awful, because like if that's all it took to get leverage, because if it was me, I'd be like, okay, go somewhere else. Like you want to make that, like go ahead, go, and then give me a call when no one's offering you that. But sure, go ahead. Like that's what I would have said to him.
I don't know. Maybe he's good in the room. They don't want to lose him.
This is like the Oilers.
He's a key part of Chiarelli's PowerPoints.
The Oilers are terrible in hockey, but man, they are just like full of character. They got character for days.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about them.
It's just like I know that like it's just crazy that this is still happening. I don't get it. Don't understand.
That's my biggest thing. We all know that this is like the Oilers report breaking news, and you're like, oh geez, what have you done now? I cannot fathom why no one else realizes it in Edmonton, except for every fan, all the media, and no one who actually works for the team.
Well, and I heard, and the thing is, I heard that there's apparently talks coming out of Edmonton that they're gonna buy out Lucic. It's just like, this is hilarious. This is just getting hilarious. Because I think they only saved $1.5 million, maybe $2 million in cap space, and I was like, I assume Lucic is probably he could probably be a 1.5 mil player at this point. Maybe not. I don't know. But they're it can't be that bad. Oh no, it is. It is, Joel. It is that bad.
Did you look up the Lucic buyout? Or
I'm efforting. Efforting.
So the Lucic buyout, if they cut him, no, they're not cutting Lucic. This is magical. If they cut Milan Lucic, they will save approximately $3-4 million over the length of this contract. That's it.
Yeah, it's not you can't buy him out.
No, it's on average less than $1 million a season.
Okay, so next year it would be 2.3. The year after that it would be 300,000. The year after that it's 1.8. Year after that it's 3.75, and then you have a cap hit of 600,000 for the next 4 years. You can't you can't buy this guy out.
No, because 2 years you're literally just paying him to the exact same to leave as you would be for him to be there.
you would actually save more. So in 2021 and 22-23, it would be more cost effective to just throw them in the AHL because you would save at least the 900 and some or whatever.
Well, and 370,000 is under league minimum, right? And so that cap hit plus a roster spot for someone at league minimum, you are paying more for those 2 years to have Lucic not there than you are to have him on the team.
You can't buy him out.
No. So that's good for them. Bad again.
Good job, Milan Lucic's agent.
Yeah, that like, raise, really, for sure.
Good job to every agent who's dealt with Chiarelli.
And every other GM.
And every other GM. Good job to everyone except for Peter Chiarelli.
Good news for everyone who has his phone number. You've called it. This week, the NHL, the NHLPA announced that the upcoming World Cup that was supposed to be held at the start of the 2020-2021 season, which is a lot more 20s than I was expecting to be saying tonight, that's canceled. It's done. They could not find a way, even though it's more than a year and a half away. It would have been September 2020. They can't find a way to schedule it. They can't find a way to come to an agreement on how this can work. And certainly some call it pop. To me, this is the players and the NHL continuing to not be able to come to terms on the simplest of things. We've talked before when they announced it, and we had talks about, who's going to play and what's it going to look like and how much money is being made. I guess not enough money was going to the players.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, I guess so.
This may shock you both. I don't have really much to say about it. I could really care much less if it's canceled.
I'd probably lean more towards agreeing with you than feeling the need to watch it. I'm pretty meh on it. I mean, I enjoyed it. The last one was fun, I guess, but it was pretty anticlimactic. And I'd rather watch NHL players play in the Olympics.
Well,
yeah, that's not happening either, though. So
that's the dilemma we're left with.
This is just getting sad. We're all sad now.
Well, it is a Monday after all. But the question that this begs for me is: does this make you think they are more or less likely to have a work stoppage than we were before? Because I know we've talked about it ever since the last one ended. We've talked work stoppage is going to happen because that's what the NHL does every time. Does this make you think it's more likely or less likely? Because at least they're already talking. At least there are some sort of talks to move things forward.
I'd say even.
I think it's probably more likely. I mean, if they had moved forward with it and started planning, now they have this World Cup hockey tournament hanging over them as they're negotiating, where, if it then leads to a work stoppage, now you have to cancel this massive event, which is going to result in sunk costs. This is just, no risk way of moving forward with their negotiations, just in case everything turns to garbage.
No, I don't know. Any other world, part of the world, I would say this is a positive step. But just because I know how Uncle Gary works, I don't trust him at all.
Well, and that's kind of, I think if we hadn't have had work stoppage after work stoppage after work stoppage, I'd probably say, yeah, maybe this is fine. But we've had too many of them for me to believe that this is going to be okay. I can't anymore. And so for sure, I'm in the same camp. I think it doesn't bode if we're looking at it. Now, granted, I would probably say we're more likely to have a strike than a lockout at this point. But that's just because the players will eventually just get sick of Uncle Gary's shenanigans. So I do think that we're on our way there, but hopefully we're all wrong. Let's talk about something good. We've talked about a lot of struggles and a lot of making poor choices. The New York Islanders are a team that have surprised everyone, and earlier this week they climbed to the very top of the Metropolitan Division, having Barry Trotz and his New York Islanders passing Barry Trotz's team the Washington Capitals. Are they for real? Obviously, they lost their best player in the offseason. No one believed that they could do it, and yet here they are.
I don't really think they're batting a little above their average right now, but it's fun. It's fun thinking about a second round playoffs of the Leafs versus the Islanders.
Oh, just wait till we get to the Elimination Station. This is I don't know. Like, they got some good players, but like, this is not going to last. They're going to make the playoffs. Like, it's pretty difficult for them not to make the playoffs at this point. Like, they have to play way worse than playing. So they're going to be a playoff team. I don't think they're going to finish first in that division.
No, I think they're going to be a wild card team.
Which, like, yeah, they're 3 points up on the wild card. I guess Pittsburgh would have to jump them, so 4 points. They're 8 points up as of right now on Buffalo, who are sitting just out. Yeah, it's not unfathomable to me that they could fall apart. Ever, I do find it interesting. It's been about a year or so. I saw the actual date today, but I don't know if we talked about this ever on the show, but the Robin Lehner, his struggles, he went to rehab, he sought help for depression, and has really turned things around, and arguably, he is the best player, not arguably, he is the best player on this Islanders team right now. And very excited to see him succeeding. And that's a known, right? We don't know what Robin Lehner, when he's not struggling with things, can do. He was a big piece in Buffalo, in Ottawa before he was traded for a first. He was a highly sought after prospect goalie, and he's showing what he can do. And that's the reason why I'm 100% the fact that this team is overperforming, because he's carrying this team right now. And I honestly think, from what I've seen, that he can continue to do it. Do I think that they'll win this division? Probably not, but I definitely think that they will continue to be a playoff team.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be a playoff team. It's at this point, if you're leading a division, you have to 100% fall apart, and you have to win 7 games the rest of the way to miss the playoffs. Like, that's how bad they'd have to play. So I think they're going to make the playoffs. Do I think they're a legit contender to go deep in the playoffs? No, they got first round 4-1 series loss written all over them. Now, so did Vegas, so who knows, right? But if I put money on it, I would say they're going to win one playoff game and be bounced quickly.
Well, and especially...
Yeah. Go ahead, Carl.
Especially when who they'd be facing in the playoffs, right? Like, if you're a wild card, you're probably going to face Tampa or Washington. If you face Tampa, that's not going to go well for you. If you face Washington, probably not going to. There's a strong chance if they finish second or third that they'll go up against Pittsburgh. Their best hope to me would be going up against Columbus. But that's, not super likely. And I also think I would probably pick Columbus over them. So,
yeah, the playoffs is the playoffs. Anything can happen in the playoffs. We've seen bigger upsets than the Islanders beating the Capitals in a first round. I just think that Lehner's rocking a .930 save percentage right now, which is a little high. I think he'll probably drop to earth a little bit. The team's got a .925 save percentage, and league average is .908. And I don't think they're that much better league average.
Yeah, I think I would expect a 9-10, 9-15 would be something I'd be impressed with.
Yeah, for sure. And then, Matt Barzal's turned it on quite a bit lately too, I think.
And some guy named Jordan Eberle, who I heard is
worth nothing.
Yeah, he's a waiver claim apparently. But who knows what happens there?
Who knows?
Sounds about right to me.
Well, Joel mentioned the Elimination Station. Let's go there now. So last week we eliminated the Los Angeles Kings. The weeks before, Chicago is gone and the Ottawa Senators are gone. This week we need to settle who is the next team to get kicked out and be eliminated officially from the playoffs. Nick, where are you going?
Have you guys ever heard of Blue Monday?
Yeah, it's today.
Today is Blue Monday, which someone at work told me about this. Apparently it's the day of the year where people feel the most depressed because of the weather or whatever. And it's funny, I was actually in a pretty good mood. And then when they told me that afterwards, I was feeling pretty sad. But it probably explains a lot of the reason why we're feeling sad today, as Joel said. But there are other reasons, like, you know, none of our teams are doing well. The Leafs are 3-7-0 in their last 10. The Avalanche are in a wild card spot. And this afternoon, the LA Kings won their matinee game, which means they're no longer last place. So the reason for sadness is that the Detroit Red Wings are now dead last in the league, and they're my pick for the Elimination Station.
Joel, what do you think about that? Are you on board?
No.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You're going to make me fight for this, aren't you?
I have watched enough Leaf games recently to be 100% certain that they are the worst team in the league. They're so bad. I hate all of them. This is terrible. They're not making the playoffs. You might as well just eliminate them now. Just get it over with. Let's just eliminate all three of our teams. I'm with that. I am like none of us have to we'll just be like, they're all garbage, and let's not talk about it. Let's just sit in silence for 10 minutes.
Why don't we do it this way? We'll eliminate Nick's team this week, my team next week, and then Joel's team the week after.
No. Put me out of my misery.
I wish I could, Joel. But I'm sorry, I can't. And you don't believe that.
I
you
struggle.
Don't believe that.
They'll probably make the playoffs. It is a struggle to watch Leaf games right now. It is incredible. Like, you have no idea how infuriating it is when they come out and play maybe one of the best games they've played all year and just hand it to Tampa and come out and lose to Arizona. It's like, it is like the most, like, oh, it's so painful to watch.
You actually forgot the Florida game ending.
Just don't even, I don't want to talk about it.
Like, were you at both of those games or only one of them?
Yeah, I was actually at both of those games because I was visiting my dad in Florida. So we made the trek to both games. And I have to say, the game against Tampa, the atmosphere was phenomenal. It was such a good game. Both teams played great. Like, I know you said the Leafs dummied the thing, but Tampa gave them a run for their money at the end of the game. And the crowd was very hostile, I have to say, in Tampa.
But that's the thing. Like, the fact that they had to give them a run for their money at the end of the game, I don't think it's any question. Like, if you're not answering Tampa when you say who's the best team in the league right now, like, if you don't answer Tampa, then you're watching football probably. So, it's just, yeah, it's infuriating to watch. So, like, just because, like, they'll get up for a game like that and then they'll play just awful teams that they shouldn't even have to try to beat. Oh, it's so annoying.
Well, Joel, at least my team did beat the team that they're supposed to beat in the Kings, and then lost to, who did they even play? I fully forget.
Nashville.
They played Nashville this afternoon. That's the game that I watched. I watched the entire thing for some sad reason. Yeah, and then they lost to Nashville. So that means you should to Nashville and beat the Kings. I understand your frustration with the Leafs, but they are still a playoff team. My vote is with the Red Wings. They are dead last in the league.
But they were number one in one thing.
Nick's heart.
Well, two things.
Oh boy, what are they number one in, Joel?
Cap it.
If Carl didn't hate it so much, I wouldn't have withheld what I was going to say to you. You are right. You are
really asked, though. You could have just said, no, I don't want to hear, and I would have respected that. Because they're not my team. So, if you ask me...
You are right. And the good thing is that $20 million of that is coming off the cap for next year. The bad thing is that nobody knows what Ken Holland's going to do with that $20 million.
Do you think you could trade Ken Holland to the Oilers for Cam Talbot? Everybody wins.
I mean, I guess so.
I was going to say Peter Chiarelli, but that's probably just sad.
Yeah, that's much worse. Detroit is not taking that trade.
No, and we're definitely not taking Peter Chiarelli. We've got someone else waiting to take over the team. Thank you very much.
Do you think... So who are these players? Which players are getting traded by the deadline?
I'm starting to worry that none of them.
Well, that's
which player should which player should be traded? That's a different question.
You don't think they'll trade anybody? They'll trade somebody.
Like Thomas Vanek gets traded every trade deadline. Why stop
Thomas
now?
Vanek has a no move clause.
Yeah, but why would he want to stay?
And why did
he sign in the first place?
I was going to say, why did he ask for a no move clause?
That's a good point. Point made.
Yeah. Gus Nyquist, all no clause. And he's the one who they really should be pushing to move. But he has not been asked to waive his no move clause yet. It might be no trade, but either way.
I assume that before one of the games, Jeff Blashill gets in the room and he says, hey guys, I have a note from Ken. He has asked all of you to waive your no move clauses. If you don't want to, that's fine, but you're benched tonight. And that's how we find out who, if you're not going to waive it, we're going to showcase the guys who will.
I like that.
He probably should do that, but then how would he bench all the good young players that he benches all the time?
You know what? It's his opportunity to really, just let Dennis Cholowski flourish.
If he wasn't a healthy scratch, he could. I know we're supposed to talk about how we fix this team. One of the ways is just leaving free agents last year. Like, just leave it be. For some reason, they always sign crazy deals at free agency. It's not necessary.
So the Trevor Daley of next offseason shouldn't happen. The Thomas Vanek shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't. No, it shouldn't.
Wasn't those aren't the ones that are bad, though.
That's actually a decent signing. I mean, it's okay. They should have been able to move them.
Was it 1 or 2? How many years was it?
It was just a year.
Yeah, so that's not bad. It's a little like Franz Nielsen. That guy's 34.
Yeah.
He's got 3 more years.
Yeah, it's a bad contract.
This is scary.
Yeah.
You got, what about, I don't know, I always hear, what's that guy's, the defenseman that always gets talked about being traded?
Nick Jensen?
Yeah, that's the guy. Trade him. You probably get something for him.
100%. I'd take a 3rd-round draft pick for that guy.
There you go.
Would someone give a 3rd-round draft pick?
But they're talking about extending him.
Oh, that's the opposite of that. Would someone give a 3rd for Nick?
I think so. For a red player this year, to add some depth on your blue line. He's consistent. He's a good skater.
I know a team a little bit north in Toronto looking for some defensemen.
We don't want Nick Jensen.
You should. He'd be great.
It's
a low risk.
I don't want another decent depth defenseman that Babcock can not play. We have enough of those.
Babcock would love Nick Jensen.
Babcock doesn't know because when you think you know, you don't. And when you don't, you do.
Was
but
Jensen?
When you do, you don't.
Was Jensen with the Wings when Babcock was?
He would have just been on the cusp of making the team.
Oh.
Babcock probably called him up for a few games. I can't remember, but it had just been on the cusp.
So he probably knew about him. Knew who he was.
Oh, he knew about him fully. Yeah.
but he was like, "You're too young and too consistent. We should let Nikita Zaitsev play."
Yep.
Okay, but here's the thing with Detroit, okay? Gus Nyquist should be moved. They're asking for a first-round draft pick for him. Not going to get that. Jimmy Howard probably also should be moved. They're asking for a first-round draft pick. You're not going to get that.
That's hilarious that they're like, you know what we can get for a goalie? He's the most inconsistent guy out there? 3 first-round draft picks.
It's their way of saying, like, hey, we tried, but the asking price just wasn't being met.
Yeah.
I'm actually not opposed to them re-signing Howard for a few years because they don't have any goalies ready to go.
You've got Jonathan Bernier.
Don't you guys have Bernier for the next 3 years?
Are you guys kidding me right now? You're really going to make me swear on this show, aren't you?
I would like to point out that you are not the first person on this podcast to have the Jonathan Bernier experience. We have all the Jonathan Bernier experience.
We actually have.
He's the tie that connects us.
We just renamed the podcast?
That and Darcy Tucker.
The Jonathan Bernier experience? Darcy Tucker was a wing?
Yeah.
No, but I feel like
that.
he should have been.
Oh, no, Darcy Tucker wasn't.
No, but he should have been. He felt like he's kind of dirty. Nobody likes him. This seems like a Red Wing.
Nick might not even finish this show at this point.
Don't worry, he was a Leaf, and he was a beloved Leaf. Before there was Nazem Kadri, there was Darcy Tucker. Right?
And what a drastic difference those two are.
I don't think it's that big of a difference. But anyways, I'm trying to think of more questions that we can ask Nick about the Detroit Red Wings.
So those are the guys that you want gone, and the reasons why they won't. You don't want them re-signed. So is that for this next year just draft well and do you want your prospects to sit in Grand Rapids for a bit and develop? What do you want?
I mean, they're pretty shallow in forwards prospects right now. They had a really good draft last year, but it's going to take a couple years to get them up. I think that they could, they probably need a few depth players to bridge the gap. They shouldn't be right now. They just gotta they're in last place, so they have a really good chance of drafting very high. And they have a lot of draft picks this year too. Again, we're talking 3 years out. They just need to not sign any more stupid long-term deals. We don't need any more Justin Abdelkers.
It's going to be like the battle of you guys are going to face off for that first overall pick. That'll be fun.
Yeah, we are.
So, one of you will be sad and one will be happy.
Oh yeah, that's right. I just clued in as to why that was happening.
This is.
Thanks, Ottawa. Do we want to?
Probably.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what we're doing. We're going to pick our Pavel Bures. These are our must-watch games. Now, what's interesting is we have quite the small because this is the start of bye weeks.
All right.
So you've got Winnipeg. These are all the teams on a bye this week. From the 20th to the 24th, Boston, Buffalo, Columbus, Dallas, New Jersey, the Rangers, Flyers, Pens, Tampa, and the Winnipeg Jets are all on byes this week. The next set of byes, everyone I did their first. So they're being jam-packed in here, and we've got a lot of teams. We'll see some repeats, because it's we're not going to be able to pick Tampa for this, right? That's not going to happen. We've got the All-Star game coming up on the weekend, and so there won't be we'll probably play some high sticking for those games, but we won't be able to pick them. So this is where we're left with. We are left with a small slate. We're picking games all the way up till the 24th? And then, not even the 24th, the 23rd. So we've got two days to pick Pavel Bures this week. So we might as well pick them well. We'll spend a lot of time digging into the hotly contested Detroit-Edmonton matchup tomorrow, which is an option.
No, it's not.
There's also.
I was going to say if we have to.
There's also the much better San Jose Washington game.
Well, if these games though, I think we might want to leave Washington till then.
Wednesday's options, we have Washington, Toronto, And the other one that's good is Nashville, Vegas.
Yeah, you should pick the one that has the 2 playoff teams.
Okay, so we'll go San Jose, Washington on Tuesday, and Washington, Toronto on Wednesday. And that's it. Those are the week. The All-Star game is there. You know all of our thoughts about it. I think you should watch it.
I don't care. Watch it if you want. Like, I won't be.
I know, like, they have... I didn't realize this. When did they switch to Friday, Saturday? Is that this year? Is that the person? The game's not on Sunday. It's weird.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't paid that much attention to fully know when they have. I know I watch it. I want to say... Yeah, maybe they've finally decided to stop going right up against the Pro Bowl. All-Star game versus All-Star game.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that people watching the Pro Bowl are not the same people watching the NHL All-Star game. It seems like 2 different crowds. Oh, maybe not. They're both awful All-Star games. I take it back. It's probably the same crowd.
It's people who like All-Star games.
It's like there's 3 sections. Like some people who are just like diehard for one or the other, and then like just like the quasi like we love All-Star games. And they also I'm going to a hockey game this week, so I'm pretty excited about that.
What are you seeing?
I'm going to a Hitman game.
Very nice.
Oh yeah.
Fun.
Well,
do they play the Saddle Dome?
They do.
Nice.
They're doing a series where they're playing in the Corral coming up here as well. So if you want to see them in a smaller venue where they can actually sell it out, that's a thing you can.
Oh man, it's really the Hitman used to get good crowds out for that, but
yeah, now it's just weird. Like they still get good crowds, but you're trying to fill 4,000 or 5,000 people into a 15,000 seat arena, and it's just empty. Even if you don't sell like the top half, it still sounds empty. When you can hear the conversations on the bench from the second level, you know things are bad. But NHL hockey will be back on the 28th. I'm going to say, why don't we call this round of high sticking after these 2 days? So Tuesday, Wednesday, and then rush with the All-Star game. How do you feel about that?
Sure.
I like it.
So the way this works, head over to our Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast, where you pick who you think is going to win the game and what you think the score is going to be. If you're smart and right, you get 3 points. If you're bad, you get nothing. If you're meh, you get something in the middle. Do that. We'll keep score. We've been tracking it all month. Mike Filche is in first place, closely followed by Matt, he's going to be excited for this episode, talking nice about his Islanders. They didn't make it this week, but we will be drawing a winner for that. Stay tuned. Maybe we'll announce it on Twitter. Maybe we'll announce it on this show. There's only one way to find out. Tune into both. You can find our website at fourthlinepodcast.com, the Alberta Podcast Network, at thealbertapodcastnetwork.com, not the albertapodcastnetwork.com. Their website is actually albertapodcastnetwork.com. You head over there, you will find a brand new updated website. They've been, you know what, we have added so many shows we need to redo how this site looks, how it works. They've got a brand new look over there, and everything is broken down in different categories. So if your website, you'll find us under sports. That's where you'll find us. We are a sports show. If you're looking for movies, if you want some movies, you can head to the movie section. And one of my favorite movie shows out there is I Have Some Notes, and it's a movie, and they figure out how they can fix it. So it's like the Elimination Station, but for movies. So recently they took Spider-Man 3 over Christmas. They did Jingle All the Way. And so they'll take a movie that, you know, you might like or you might hate, and they will fix it for you, much like the Detroit Red Wings. So tune over there. IHaveSomeNotes.com is their website. You can also find them on all of your iTunes services. Gentlemen, both back this week. You know, it was great with Nick in person. It is even better with both of us, all three of us back. So thank you very much. Until next week, enjoy the All-Star game.
Boom City.